What is up, everybody? How you living? How you feeling? Hope you had a great July 4th weekend. We are back, fresh off of Game 2 last night. We're actually recording this on Thursday night, leading into Game 2, but this is going live on Friday in the queue. We're excited for you to join us here. Thank you for taking some time out of your Friday to snag a pack. Some exciting news, updates, features coming to Top Shot. And I'm here to share them. We have championship badges. We have all of the Lakers from Series 1, save for the Steve Nash run it back. Those moments badged. We've got 3 run it backs from the Spurs from the 2013-14 season. Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. Those moments are now badged with championship badges. We will see when a champion is crowned in the next week or two. One team's moments from Series 2 will also receive championship badges. Looking forward to that. Moving along, as you know, playoff packs dropping right now. Very excited for you all to snag a pack. $14, 3 moments in every pack. 2 of those moments are epic playoff moments. You might even pull a moment from the guy that we're streaming with in just a minute here, Duncan Robinson. A lot of great moments for these packs and a great value. But of course, next week, we also have a new rare set debuting. And then there were 4. The rare drop happens on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you want to get priority access for the first time in Top Shot history, we are actually doing 3 queues in one day. For priority access, you need a collector score of 10,000. If you have a collector score of 10,000, you can get into the priority access queue number 1. That will get you the best chance at landing one of these rare packs. Shortly thereafter, at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be dropping the priority Q2. And what that will be is you need a collector score of 5,000. If you have a collector score of 5,000, you'll have the opportunity to snag a pack in that queue. If you are a collector with a really high collector score, you're going to have access to all 3 queues. What that means is you'll have 3 bites at the apple. If you don't snag a pack in the priority queue number 1 or priority queue number 2, you'll still have a chance in the general queue. If you're a beginner, just getting your feet wet in Top Shot, you're still going to have a chance to get a rare pack as long as you have a collector score over 100. So show up to that queue. The general queue, again, will be happening at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, July 14th. We're excited to see you there. And we're going to be breaking down all of the moments that are going into both the drop today for playoff packs and the drop that is happening on Wednesday. So stay tuned. But before we do that, I'm really just so excited to bring on our guest of the night, guest of the day, one of my favorite players to watch, one of the best shooters in NBA history, and upcoming free agent that, I, as a Knicks fan, am just keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to get good news one of these years and land one of these marquee free agents. So Duncan Robinson, very excited to have you here, man. How's it going? Hope you had a nice July 4th.
Oh, it's going well, man. Appreciate you having me. One of the best years in NBA history is a bold claim. I think I got some years before I can wear that one, but nonetheless, I appreciate the praise.
I was looking at Basketball Reference. The box scores, there are receipts to prove that claim. As long as you keep shooting it like you do, man, you're well on your way. And you're not just a shooter too. I think, sometimes it does a disservice to your rep if we just say you're one of the best shooters in NBA history, because you do plenty of other things on the court that contribute to winning. And that is a key reason why the Miami Heat made the finals last year. And we'll get into talking a little finals today, but for sure wanted to, I guess let's actually just start there. Obviously, we're recording this before game 2. And it's going to be a competitive series. We can see already after game 1, both of these teams are super talented, star power at the top, some depth. One of the guys that is, the only guy in the league that's made 2 consecutive finals is Jay Crowder, your teammate from last year. What about Jay Crowder's game is so conducive to just playing on winning teams?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got a great look at that last year in Miami, and he's just a consummate professional. He's been around. He's played in a lot of different organizations, and I think he really has an understanding of what it takes to win. And he's very, very low maintenance in that he's willing to fill his role and really excel in his role. And particularly in this series, I think he gives Phoenix a unique advantage in that he's able to guard bigger than his size. I mean, Jay's only 6'6", 6'7", maybe. But his strength, his size allows him to guard bigger players. So, in game 1, you see him guarding Brook Lopez and being able to battle on that end and then turn around on offense and create an advantage because he is such a capable shooter and somebody who can really make shots. And, so often, obviously, you got to make shots, and he does that at a high level. But the way he's aggressive in taking shots creates space just in and of itself. So, I'm super happy for Jay. I was fortunate enough to be his teammate last year, and obviously he was huge in our playoff run, and he's been huge for the Suns as well. So Suns are a fun team to watch, and Jay's a big part of that.
Now, Duncan, you're no stranger to big games. Obviously, had some very big games in college, some very big games in the pros. Is there something about stepping onto the court for game 1 of the NBA Finals like you did last year? And obviously your situation was a little different being in the bubble, but was there something that kind of felt surreal about stepping onto that court? And does it almost feel like a different game from any other game you've played before that?
Yeah, it's definitely surreal. You mentioned it. Looking back, I really wish it had been in a normal circumstance with, a packed arena and all just the access and availability leading up to it. I think that would have provided a really, really unique experience. But nonetheless, just seeing like something as simple as like the logo on the floor, the NBA Finals logo, or on the baseline there, or along the scorers table, seeing the graphics, NBA Finals. It's such a surreal moment. Somebody like myself who's growing up watching the NBA Finals year after year, and then once again to be like pivoted against a team like the Lakers and somebody like LeBron. There was so much anticipation leading up to it. But once the ball went up, I mean, it really just becomes about competition and trying to compete. And you're able to kind of let all that kind of, extra stuff subside, and you're able to just focus on competition. So it was truly a special experience. Obviously, the motivation right now is as high as ever to get back there, just because it's the pinnacle of basketball, growing up. It's what every kid's hoping for.
Yeah. And so for you, as a student of the game, someone that's been a diehard fan of the NBA your whole life, obviously, like Chris Paul, one of the big storylines of his whole career was never could get quite to the NBA Finals. Now coming off of game 1, and again, we apologize that we're streaming this on Thursday just before game 2, chat, but when you watch Chris Paul in the zone like he was in game 1, it feels like he was born for that moment. Tell me a little bit about kind of what you've seen from him in this playoff ascent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think first and foremost, the fact that somebody of his caliber has just now reached his first finals just goes to show you how difficult of a task it is to make the NBA Finals, let alone win a championship. I think it should provide a newfound appreciation for other players in the league who have had that sustained excellence and have been on winning teams over and over again. Because Chris Paul's been on some really good teams, and obviously he's a Hall of Fame player, one of the best point guards to ever play. and he's now finally getting his opportunity. And obviously in game one and so far, he's made the most of it. Just the way he controls the pace and the tempo, always under control. And there's something that I learned in my first playoff experience last year and this year as well, is so often playoff games are decided by these little 2-3 minute spurts. Closing a quarter to start a quarter. A certain lineup might make a push, and then all of a sudden the game has changed. And I think CP has a really, really great grasp on the importance of those moments, and he's able to manipulate those moments and tip them in favor of his teams. He's always aware of time, score, situation, foul trouble, if a team's in the bonus. And as a result, you always feel like as a team you're in control and controlling the pace of the game. And that's such a huge advantage, particularly in a playoff game when the game tends to slow down. So he's been awesome. He's been fun to watch really all playoffs, despite the couple of games that he had to miss. But he's obviously an incredible player, and I think there are a lot of people pulling for him to get his first one, and that's for good reason.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I just such a admirer of the game. And one thing I really liked, and I'm sure you can appreciate, after the game, he's getting interviewed. He points out to the crowd and says, "That's my homie, Trevor Ariza, your current teammate, Trevor Ariza, at the game." They're good friends from the Rockets days. So cool to see just that kind of fraternity that is being an NBA player. You play with so many teammates over the years and you make lifelong bonds. But moving ahead here, obviously, if you're in the queue right now, congratulations. You're getting close to snagging one of these playoff packs. These packs contain 2 moments from the playoffs and 1 base set moment. So if you're in the queue right now, you have an awesome chance at snagging a pack, and these moments are epic. We've got 2 moments from the playoffs in each of these packs, plus a base set moment. We're releasing some brand new moments to the Top Shot marketplace and ecosystem today. Let's just jump right into it. These are some of the best moments from the conference finals. And we're going to start with the LA Clippers, who, while they didn't make the finals, I'm sure they turned heads. When Kawhi went down, everyone thought they were dead in the water. And they not only managed to pull through the Jazz, who had the best record in the NBA this year, but they made it a really competitive series with these Suns. And one of the big reasons for that was this guy, Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris, just a total beast, and he scored 20 plus points 5 times during the Clippers playoff run. Duncan, Marcus Morris is known for being a little bit of a talker on the court, definitely jaws a little bit. And I'm just curious, for the times that you played against him, of course, Marcus came from the Eastern Conference for several years between, the Celtics and the Knicks recently. What about his game, similar to, as you were saying with Jay Crowder earlier, what about his game just is conducive to the modern NBA?
Yeah, for sure. So actually my rookie year, I got to spend a lot of time around both Marcus and Markieff. They were spending some of their offseason down in South Florida, and I got to know them pretty well. First and foremost, I mean, they're awesome people. So I think it's funny that they've developed the reputation that they have on the court as kind of being chippy. I think that's most likely more than anything because they're competitive and they're good teammates and they stick up for their teammates. So, but in terms of his game, I mean, he has an ability to just really move at his own pace. He never kind of gets rushed, and he can really, really shoot it, and from all over. He's one of the few guys that is super comfortable in that mid-range area. It's kind of, considered by many to be kind of like a lost art of today's modern NBA, but he can get to those kind of turnarounds and those fallaways in that mid-post area and shoot it all the way out to 3. So I think just from a versatility standpoint, he really fits, particularly within that Clippers offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving along here, the other Clipper making these packs, and I think history will remember this series as potentially the comeback series for DeMarcus Boogie Cousins. Had been written off a little bit, but this buzzer beater goes to show Boogie still has the range. He finished this game with 12 points in 14 minutes, and he scored 41 points in 42 minutes over the duration of the series. Phoenix, not known for their depth at the big man position, and Boogie ate them alive when he had his moment to shine.
Yeah, it's been great to see him, finally get back and kind of establish a role. I think it was never a question about ability. He's obviously, one of the more talented bigs in the entire league and has been for quite some time. Obviously, a huge emphasis has been on him getting healthy, but then also, just having an opportunity and a role. And it was fun to see him, this playoff series kind of come back on the scene and, be a spark off the bench in both series that they played in.
Now, we talked about him earlier. Our next moment that we're debuting, your former teammate, Jay Crowder. Let me know if you remember this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's vintage Jay Crowder passing up a good shot for a great shot. Seeing DeAndre running up in front and putting it upstairs. That's an impressive finish, but also a great pass. And obviously, he's had a couple of great passes this playoff series. None greater than the game winner that he had from out of bounds. But this one is also a big time play as well.
Maybe, just maybe, chat. We'll be getting to that one very soon. Moving along here, one of my very favorite players in the NBA, I think arguably the most underrated guy in the league, Mikal Bridges. And he's just proving his worth in gold every single night. And this is just signature Bridges, making the defensive stop, showing the offensive athleticism. What's it like getting guarded by a guy like him?
Mikal is one of my favorite players as well. Just his versatility, his ability to really defend. In terms of being guarded by him, I mean, his wingspan alone makes it a challenge. He has such great length and defensive instinct. So he's really, really been a huge piece for them all year. And it's great to see that he's finally getting the respect that he deserves because now that they're doing it kind of on a more national stage, people are, starting to take notice. So Mikal's a great player, though, and this play right here is also another example of his length and wingspan. You can see he doesn't have maybe his best jump, but he's still able to get up there and finish it.
Hey, he's like Plastic Man. He just stretches and it goes on. It's like Michael Jordan in Space Jam dunking from half court.
Exactly.
Now we got our first rookie debuting from this drop, and it's Onyeka Okongwu, who I think turned a lot of heads, defended Giannis with really good aptitude for a rookie, and here just showing the athleticism on the offensive end. Obviously, in your division, he was a little injury riddled this year, but curious, did you have a chance to go up against him? What were your initial thoughts on him as a youngster?
Yeah, he missed a couple of our games and then played in a couple of our games as well. And I mean, the first thing that jumps out is just his athletic ability, as you see here on this play, and just how quick he is off the floor. And it actually, something that kind of surprised me is he's a little bit undersized for the center position. He's not, super tall, but that's just a testament to the way he's still able to be effective with his strength and athleticism as a younger player is really impressive. I remember hearing a lot of comparisons to like Bam, and I totally see the comparisons and where they would come from, just from like a raw talent standpoint. So it's safe to say he has a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, and he played as a youngster with the Ball brothers. A great story, Onyeka Okongwu. If you are unfamiliar with him, chat, go look him up. Go look into the marketplace. He has some epic moments. Definitely one of the rookies to watch going forward. Moving along here, another youngster on the Atlanta Hawks who was injured for most of the season and then just came out like a microwave and really inspired confidence in this game. Went 6 of 7 from 3 to keep the Hawks playoff hopes alive, or at least the fans' hopes alive in Game 6. 21 points in 29 minutes of work and just was kind of unconscious. Obviously came into the league with Zion and RJ Barrett as the big three from Duke. When you watch Reddish, he's the type of guy that it seems like there's no limit on his superstar potential.
Yeah, I mean, he has so much ability, and I think that's the first thing that jumps out is just how fluid of an athlete he is and how skilled and smooth he is with the ball. So when you couple those two things together, obviously the potential is basically limitless, like you said. I think having injuries has kind of dampened his trajectory at this point, but he's still so young, and this is just a small glimpse of what he's capable of. And I played against him a lot last year, or I should say 2 years ago, and his combination of size, people don't realize he's 6'8", and his strength and speed is really, really unique, especially for such a young player.
Yeah, the comparisons coming out of college got a lot of Paul George comps, and from his shooting in this game, you can certainly see it. Moving along here to the victors of the series, this is one of my favorite moments from the playoffs so far, Brook Lopez. And this is him just kind of putting the signature flush and the dagger on the Hawks as they were trying to mount a comeback in Game 6. Brook Lopez, the Nets franchise all-time leading scorer, and he reminds you in games like this, he still can just put up buckets. 33 points, 7 boards, 4 blocks in this game, really stepping up as the primary offensive option in Giannis's absence in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I have a ton of appreciation for Brook just from the standpoint of how he's able to, or how he has able to adapted his game over time. I mean, you mentioned him with Brooklyn, and he was basically like a low post back to the basket scorer. And what he does now is basically this, finishing lobs and dunks or shooting threes from well beyond the 3-point line. So the combination of those two, to be able to adapt to a system that is, obviously emphasized around a Giannis or a Drew Holiday and still be really effective in those areas has been pretty cool to see. So he really played great in our series against us, and continued his great play in the Eastern Conference Finals as well.
Yeah, he's one of the more unique players in the league, and just crazy to think that Milwaukee kind of got him because after a stint with the Lakers, the league had kind of given up on him a bit, and Brook is reminding everyone he is still one of the most talented players in the league. Now, Duncan, moving along here, as a Knicks fan, the old adage, the old expression is once a Knick, always a Knick, and I'll take that claim for Bobby Portis. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Bobby Portis, this is one of the best reactions from the postseason. And we'll watch it here on the flush coming out, and he is fired up.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby's a guy that plays with a ton of energy, and he was great in our series against them, and was great in this one as well against the Hawks. He's certainly an X factor for that Milwaukee team, and that if he comes off the bench and plays well, they're usually really tough to beat. He has some offensive and defensive versatility, and I think he just kind of gives them a different look with a smaller big that's kind of able to do some different things.
Now, moving along to the challenge rewards. So these moments will not be available in packs, but you can earn them by collecting those moments from the packs. And we're going to start with John Collins, and with what was one of the most impressive moments of the playoffs so far. We're gonna play this one a few times just because, when I was watching it live, I was just like, wow, they are confident for Game 1.
I mean, this play is just flat out ridiculous. The fact that you have the audacity to throw an off the backboard alley-oop in an Eastern Conference Finals game is incredible. But it also just speaks to how free of a team they were really throughout these playoffs. And when you're able to play free in the mind, obviously it kind of untaps your potential. And John Collins was great all series in this series, obviously as a finisher such as this, but I think the area that he really impressed me as well was his ability to space the floor, and then also offensive rebounds. I think he does a ton of dirty work for that team, and was starting to get the credit that he really deserves.
Yeah, as you said, 15 boards in Game 1 victory. True story. Years ago, I was covering the Hawks for NBA.com out at Summer League. It was Trae Young's rookie year, going into his rookie year at Summer League, and I wrote an article. Can Trae Young and John Collins be the next Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire? And for the past 3 years, I've been a little ridiculed for it, but it's starting to finally play out. There's some fruition there. So certainly exciting to see John Collins continue to develop. And we talk about upcoming free agents that are going to get paid. John Collins is certainly going to get paid. Boardman gets paid, as Kawhi says.
That's right.
Moving along here to Paul George. Paul George really rewriting the narrative around playoff moments and his performances in the playoffs. This is Paul George finishing with 27 points, 15 boards, 8 assists in a Game 3 win. And this moment, of course, half quarter. And, you watch shots like this, and it's just second nature to a guy like PG.
Yeah, it was good to see him silence a lot of the noise that was surrounding him and his playoff performances. He was incredible, particularly in this series and the Utah series. Just his ability to basically take over, with Kawhi out, and he does it in so many different ways, at the rim, from three, mid range, and in this case, all the way from half court.
Moving along here, we got Drew Holiday. I know you're no stranger to Drew. He's been locking up stars in the league for years, and this is him flashing the offense, which he is prone to do. This is an acrobatic finish. Drew Holiday in this game, 27 points, 9 boards, 9 assists, 4 steals, just signature Drew, leading the Bucks to victory in Game 6 without Giannis. You've had to go up against him as recently as about a month ago. What has he done for that team?
Yeah, I think he just untaps a whole different level for them, between his defensive versatility. He can basically guard whoever on the floor. And like you said, in many cases, it's not always shut down, but at least make it very, very difficult. His combination of, speed, agility, and strength is truly, truly unique. So defensively, he obviously brings a different dynamic, but then also offensively, from a playmaker's perspective, and he can do a lot of different things. He can post up smaller guards and obviously shoot the three well, and then also get in the paint like this and, finish creatively.
Now, last but not least, certainly not least, we have a Chris Paul Challenge Award. This moment, closing out the Clippers, finishing with 41 points, 8 assists, and 3 steals. 31 of those 41 points coming in the second half. We talked about him a little bit earlier, but this moment in particular was kind of the one that Chris Paul is punching his ticket to the finals. And if you're an NBA fan and NBA historian, you know just how special this moment means to so many CP3 fans around the world.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's still able to do this at what stage he is in his career is incredible. He's clearly, done everything right in terms of taking care of his body and checking all those boxes to put himself in these situations. And it's been fun, watching him and really, lock into a whole different zone in terms of being able to lead that young Suns team and take them to another level.
So that will do it for the new moments from the common 2021 NBA playoff set that are being released tomorrow. We are going to move into and then there were 4 moments. These are the rare moments that are dropping next Wednesday. Very excited for you all in the community to have a chance at these. If you are in this drop, as long as you maintain the moments in your collection, you will be eligible for next Wednesday's general queue at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you want to up your chances of snagging one of these packs, we're going to have a priority queue going at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and then a priority queue 2 going at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Both of those queues restricted to collectors with high collector scores, and there will be the same number of packs or a similar number of packs in each of those queues, but fewer competitors trying to snag those packs because it's hard to raise your collector score that level. So if you want to have a chance at one of these packs, there will be 3 queues. The general main queue is happening, again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you are eligible for this drop that's happening right now, you will be eligible for the drop on Wednesday as long as you hold those moments. If you want to up your chances at getting one of these packs, you're going to have to do some collecting. You're You're going to have a high collector score. You're up for it. I know it. I can see it in your eyes, everyone. You're going to be eligible as long as you put your mind to it. You're going to be able to work the collector score bonuses and get yourself eligible. And you're going to want to, because we're going to be previewing some pretty epic moments right now. So we're going to kick it to the hype video. So these moments are epic. We're going to start with the Atlanta Hawks. Before we jump into the moments, just a quick recap here. Each pack, $79, 6 moments in a pack, guaranteed 1 rare moment in each pack, numbered to 750 in the world. These are super scarce, hard to come by. Work yourself eligible into this drop because it is going to be worth it. Collectors, let's start with arguably the circus shot of the year from Clint Capella. Not particularly known as a shooter, but this moment was certainly memorable.
Yeah, I mean that's like Larry Bird, Allen Iverson-esque right there, over the backboard, and over a 7-footer at that. That's a pretty impressive shot right there.
Duncan, has there been a circus shot like that that's happened directly against you? You have the hand in the defender's face or in the shooter's face, and then they still manage to pull it out?
I can't remember anything quite like that to that point. There's definitely been some possessions where you feel like you play great D and they still make it regardless. I had one in Summer League, my second year playing Summer League. I had like a buzzer beater where I shot it over the backboard, something kind of similar to that, and I was able to get it to go. But that's the only time in my career that I've ever been able to do anything like that.
Top Shot fam, go to the archives, try to find that shot. We'll try to retweet it out or something. Awesome. Oh, of course, on top of the fact that it was a social media darling, Clint Capella proving himself to be, I don't want to prescribe a number on it, but one of the elite centers in the NBA, seemingly always a part of winning formulas, and certainly has a great teammate with Trae Young to run pick and rolls and flush going forward. Moving along, another guy that loves running pick and rolls. We saw him in the Commons, but here's his rare moment. John Collins coming out of nowhere, throwing it down with authority on Giannis. You mentioned it, man. Like, the guy is a bruiser. He's willing to get a little down and dirty, but he's also got super refined skills, right? Good shooter. What do you think, what's the next step for John Collins in his journey to maybe becoming an all-star?
Oh, I mean, I think he's right there, at least from an ability standpoint. Like you said, the combination of his skill set and then also his just raw athletic jumping ability. I think probably the biggest thing would probably be to, just develop more and more consistency, which is, obviously the mark of some of the best players in the league, that they're able to go out and do it every single night. And he's more than capable. I wouldn't be surprised if an all-star nod is in his near future.
Moving along to arguably the most iconic moment from the Hawks or from any player this season, Trae Young breaking out the shimmy, man.
I mean, that is just so much swagger, borderline disrespectful to do it on the road like that is pretty incredible. Disrespectful in like a competitive way. I mean, I have a ton of appreciation for somebody who's able to go into a 18,000 person arena and play with that much confidence and swagger. So I think Trae proved a lot of people wrong in his playoff push this year. And I think everybody got a glimpse of just how special he is as a player.
48 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds, smallest guy on the floor, most impactful most nights. And per StatMuse, it was the most points in a conference finals debut in NBA history, passing Amari Stoudemire's 41 points years ago. Trae Young slowly ascending from all-star snub to superstar recognition seemingly overnight. It's just been awesome to see, and he's undoubtedly one of the most entertaining guys in the league to watch.
Yeah, incredibly entertaining. And yeah, I mean, when you're able to do it and put up numbers like that and still win, I mean, I think that's what really takes you to another level.
Moving along here, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Here's the rare moment from Drew Holiday. This one will be available in the packs next Wednesday, not a challenge reward. Split in the double team, flushing it home with his left hand. Now,
Yeah,
Duncan, you're not necessarily a dunker, but I always am just amazed when people are ambidextrous enough to throw it down with their offhand like that. Can you contextualize how much harder that is to kind of a layman like myself or those in the chat?
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what makes this play so impressive to me. And Drew is truly one of the best athletes in the entire NBA, and maybe not necessarily from like a springy vertical standpoint, but the way that he moves, his combination of dexterity and strength is truly, truly unique. It's up there with anybody else in the league, and the fact that he's able to jump off his right foot the same way that he's able to jump off his left is really, really impressive.
Moving along here to a guy that you know very well and two-time MVP, certainly has a claim for being the best player in the NBA, and this kind of graceful mid-air adjustment athleticism. There are very few players in NBA history that could pull off this move.
Yeah, I mean, his combination of size and strength and athleticism is so unique. And when you're able to see the development that he's made in terms of his skill set and be able to have the ability to finish like that in like such a finesse way is pretty impressive. And his the crazy thing about him is he's only going to get better. He still has so many areas that he's, as you can see, developing and working on, and he's just going to be a better version of himself year after year, which is pretty crazy to think about.
I'm fairly convinced he's not human.
Yeah.
Coming off of that hyperextended knee that looked like it would put the average human out for 6 to 12 months. He's back on the floor in the NBA Finals just a week later. Truly just remarkable perseverance and toughness from that guy. Utmost respect for him. And, if the Bucks win a championship, I'll be super, super happy for Giannis in particular, because I don't know if there's a player in the league with quite as wild and inspiring a story as him.
Yeah, absolutely. I still don't understand how he's playing, given just the video recording of that injury. Incredible testament to who he is as a competitor, for sure.
Moving along here, another guy that has a reputation as a tough competitor, a little undersized throughout his career, but Patrick Beverley, of course, had a huge playoffs and resurged as kind of the gnat in Chris Paul's side for a lot of this series. Here he is hitting a clutch three-pointer and the crowd going crazy, and Pat Beverley feeding off that energy. You've played against Pat enough times. Like we mentioned, Marcus Morris earlier is a guy that likes to talk trash. What's it like just sharing the court with Pat Beverley when he's kind of on one, talking smack to your team?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely willing to take the game to that place. Turn it into kind of a competitive jawing match, and that's kind of the world that he likes to live in. And I can imagine if you're his teammate, you probably love it, and if you play against him, you probably don't very much. But those are always the guys that you want in your locker room instead of going against him. So he definitely had an impact on this series. I understand he's, with some of his actions, a little bit of a polarizing player, but at the same time, you got to appreciate just how hard he plays every single possession.
Now we've got Paul George for his second moment, and this one sending Chris Paul flying. Whew.
Yeah, that is a high skill level right there, to be able to just stop on a dime, drop it behind your back, and then hit the three in rhythm. That's an impressive move.
41 points, 13 boards, 6 dimes, 3 steals. Paul George, I think when he has Kawhi on the floor, I think both of them are best with the ball in their hands, and they're both very good, as shooters and defenders. So there's kind of this expectation that, it's easy to play off ball. But I'm sure for a guy like Paul George, it must have been nice to be able to be primary creator for a little bit and reframe the narrative that no, he's still elite, superstar of superstars. As long as he has the ball in his hands, he can make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the challenge in the modern NBA, especially when you have a high level collection of talent, is how you can make it work. And he's just an incredibly dynamic player. He can score in so many different ways, and right here is a great example of that.
Now moving along to the last Clippers moment from the set, and Reggie Jackson, I think a restoration series year, reframing the narrative around him. He was a waiver wire pickup from Detroit, and there were a few games there where he looked like the best player in the NBA, just super smooth handles. Now, of course, Reggie Jackson has bounced around the league from OKC to Detroit. And now he's in LA, and he earned himself some good money as an upcoming free agent. What did you see from him this postseason?
Just confidence. It was cool to see him in a role where he can really be the best version of himself. And so much of high level basketball is about situation and opportunity, and he certainly took advantage of it in this series and really throughout the entire playoffs. His ability to attack the basket, shoot threes off the dribble, and also shoot threes in catch and shoot situations. So it was good to see him kind of get back to that Reggie Jackson of old. I mean, I think many people knew that he was capable, but to see him be able to do that in this series was fun to watch.
Freakish wingspan. I think he's 6'3" or 6'4" with a 6'9" wingspan. He finished this series averaging 20.3 points per game, and this game 3 win pulling out 23. So, I think I'll be very interested to see what happens with him this offseason. No shortage of demand for creators that can be spark plugs off the bench or starters. If you want to put Reggie in any position, he's just going to create. And he's gonna make some things happen for your team. Speaking of making things happen for your team, moving along to the Chris Paul moment. This one will be in packs. It will not be a challenge reward. This is just signature CP3 toying with the defense, the mid-range king, pulling up over Vika Zubac with confidence. Duncan, I'm going to put you on the spot here. CP3, I'm just going to throw some names. CP3, DeMar DeRozan, CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton. This is an elite class of mid-range scorers. And I think we're seeing through this postseason, the mid-range is back, right? And it's a little cherry picked because, of course, Phoenix has one of the best divers in the NBA and some elite perimeter shooters as well. But I think what we're seeing more than anything is in the playoffs, the ability to create your own shot and be able to score with efficiency from the mid-range has never been more valuable in the modern NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it's largely because those are oftentimes the shots that defenses are willing to concede. And when you get into the playoffs, there's a huge emphasis on taking away threes. So it's really hard to get good three-point shots. And then obviously there's a huge emphasis on protecting the rim. So when you have players like a Chris Paul, like a Devin Booker that can get to those shots and shoot them confidently, it just makes you really, really hard to defend. And he's been doing it for forever. I mean, those shots every year, he's right around 50%. In that mid-range area. And, quote unquote, you could say they're not a good shot, but they're a good shot for him because he makes them.
Now moving along to the last moment in packs, arguably the breakout star of the playoffs, Devin Booker. And while he certainly showed grit playing with a broken nose, this is the flash and sizzle that electrifies the crowd.
Yeah, this is a great play call. Late quarter, obviously, and to do that, to hit Aiden and then have him pitch it, and then just let Book be Book. He's so offensively gifted and can score in so many different ways. And obviously, people were knocking him for the longest time of not playing in meaningful games, but it was only a matter of time until he was going to and really be able to showcase what he's capable of.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. The narrative on him until this year was good stats, bad team type player. Reframing that narrative. How much of it do you think for a guy like him, and I'll just throw another guy into this mix, Zach LaVine, like infinitely talented. Do you think that it is unfair for the perception to be so dictated by your team's success when you're a guy like that's fairly young like that? Or do you think that it might be the type of thing where, winning reinforces narratives and it's kind of up to the guy to make it happen?
I think it's a tricky question because, when you look at somebody like Booker, I think everyone knew that no matter the situation or the setting, that he was going to be able to go and get buckets and be the impactful player that he is. It's just in Phoenix, since he had been there, they just hadn't had a lot of opportunity to really let him do that. And I understand why the criticisms exist, that at some point, when you do get that opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. But with that being said, you could definitely make the argument that a lot of that stuff has been outside of his control early on in his career. So nonetheless, it's exciting to see him get to showcase just how capable he is and that he can do it on the biggest of stages.
Absolutely. Now, moving ahead to the challenge rewards for And Then There Were Four, and I'm just going to give you fair warning here, Duncan. These two moments are some of the most epic that will ever hit Top Shot because of what they signify, what they mean. And we're going to start with a guy that, I think going into the season, the perception was maybe a little unfair, drafted before Luka. How could Phoenix do it? And then DeAndre Ayton this postseason really showing everyone what having an all-encompassing big man could do for your team. And this moment, the value in particular, just stands out to me as something that will live on for generations to come as one of the just great moments in not only Phoenix Suns history, but NBA history. Can you tell me, I assume you were watching this live. Walk me through kind of what was happening in Duncan Robinson's living room as the value goes down.
Yeah, you see the ball was tipped kind of out in an awkward position, and it's just a great play call. Kind of puts the defense in a tricky situation of if you help off Booker for even the slightest second, he's going to be able to get to a jumper. I think in that setting, you kind of almost have to switch it if you're LA and just try to wipe everything out. But incredible play call, incredible pass by Jay, and then obviously you need somebody that can go up there and do something special like DeAndre did. So, and when I was watching it, I was like, wow, that they really executed that because you work so much on late game situations and these types of plays, and it's pretty special when you're actually able to pull it off because you know how much has gone into it.
Now, to the hoops heads in the chat, of course, this is a famous Jay Triano play. We're going to watch it back. You can see as we play it, there's a little uncertainty. Paul George, Ivica Zubac both thought it may have been a goaltend. Now, the technical rule here is you can't have a field goal attempt on an inbound. You can't shoot on an inbound. So therefore, it's impossible to offensive goaltend an inbound. And therefore, you're able to put the ball right above the cup, right above the cylinder, and flush it home. Now, Duncan, this is such an inside baseball rule to the NBA. Is this something that, obviously, you're coached by one of the greatest of all time in Eric Spoelstra? Is this something that, is part of his repertoire? Is this something that NBA players around the league know about this rule? Or do you think now that it's happened, it will start to be known, but it was kind of a best kept secret till this?
Yeah, I think it really kind of came onto the scene as being known with the Tyson Chandler play,
right.
Which I think that was, for a lot of people, the first time people realized it. And then, funny enough, same team. I think it was the same arena as well. The play gets executed again. So I think by now it should be commonplace. Everybody should know the rules, and there should be no more confusion going forward.
And now, so if this one is the most epic moment of the season, which it very well might be, we're gonna move along to, I don't know if this moment in particular was the only epic moment from Chris Middleton, but the guy had 38 points in game 3, capped off with a 20-point fourth quarter on this step back 3-pointer on John Collins. And here's what Giannis had to say. What I saw today was unbelievable. It was freaking unbelievable. He carried the team at the end. We were like, get the hell out of the way, give him the ball, take us home, Chris. And that's what he did. And that's Giannis, who, one of the best players in the league. You don't see a superstar like Giannis often just deferring to the number 2 or number 3 on his team like they did in this game. But Chris Middleton, Cash Middleton, as they call him, certainly delivered the goods. And of course, you just a month ago went head to head with him and had a battle where he had a game winner over you. What did you see from Chris Middleton this postseason as he kind of took the ascent from maybe all-star to real superstar on offense at the very least?
Yeah, I mean, he has a unique ability to just really move at his pace. He's never in a rush, and he knows where his spots on the floor are, and when he gets to them, he's incredibly comfortable. Despite what it may look like, defensively getting a hand or thinking that you might be bothering him, he has the size, and his release is way up over his head to the point where he can get those shots off. So the other thing is he just has he's super ignitable. I mean, he can, as you see here in this game in particular, like he can just get it going. And sometimes when he sees 1 or 2 go through, the floodgates just really start to open.
That's underdog, respecting underdog. Duncan Robinson started his college career in the NESCAC at Williams and becomes an undrafted sensation for the Miami Heat, helping them guide to the finals. Chris Middleton, the first All-Star to play in the G League before making the All-Star team, 2nd-round pick by Detroit, an afterthought in the Brandon Knight for Brandon Jennings trade years ago. And Chris Middleton kind of redefining history for the Milwaukee Bucks. And if they go on to either make this a series or win, he'll be a big reason why. Those are the moments, people, that are going to be in. And then there were 4, again, the Valley-oop and the Chris Middleton ignitable fourth quarter takeover. Those are going to be the challenge rewards. You're going to need to collect the moments from the drop and the set to be able to earn those. Duncan, this is awesome, man. It's always just such a humbling experience to be able to talk basketball with not only an expert of the game, but one of a guy that's redefining history as we go here. As we recap these, I'm going to leave the Valley-oop out of it. Which moment from this list that we went through is a moment that you absolutely need to own one day?
Ooh, I would say the tray off the backboard to John Collins. That's an incredible play. I mean, when you look back at NBA history, I think it's only been done a couple of times, and especially to do it in the half court. I think they had done it one other time, but I'd be hard pressed to find another example of it. So I think that one is for sure a must grab.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And that followed by a Trae Young shimmy. What was it, like in real time, 5 minutes later, maybe like 2 minutes of game time later? That was just audacious of a breakout conference finals performance from the Hawks. We'll certainly see them back in the playoffs. Hopefully next year. I wouldn't be surprised to see them have a run, especially with DeAndre Hunter coming back and then that depth and everyone taking another year of a leap forward. Anyway, Duncan, this has been such a pleasure, man. Thank you for taking some time out of your off season to join us. I'm sure there will be more to come in due time. Give me your bold predictions. Obviously, we don't know what's happening in game 2, though this is airing after game 2. When we last had you on, I think it was about a month ago, you had come fresh off of the sweep. So Milwaukee was really kind of riding high momentum, and I think you picked them to win it all. As we stand here today, are you going to revise your pick knowing just on how much of a tear Phoenix has been, or are you holding firm with Milwaukee?
I'll hold firm with Milwaukee. I'm less confident about my take, but I'll hold firm. I'll say for now I got Bucks in 7.
Bucks in 7. You heard it here first. Chat, you know what they say? It's not a series until the home team loses a game. So irregardless of what happens tonight, it is not a series until Milwaukee loses one at Fiserv Forum. Community, congratulations. If you're going to get a pack today, very excited for you. If today's not the day, you'll have another bite at the apple next week. Work yourself into the priority queues if you want the best chance at snagging that John Collins put-back dunk that Duncan Robinson will need to own one day. If you want that Trae Young shimmy, if you want Giannis picturesque mid-air adjustments, if you want Paul George sending Chris Paul flying, the number of epic moments in And Then There Were Four is just really unfathomable. And if you're coming out with a pack today, may the pack gods be with you. I hope that you pull a player that from one of your favorite teams that you're really excited about. But we're just getting started here. Lots of great stuff still to come. Of course, stay tuned for announcements about a legendary finals drop happening after the NBA Finals concludes. We're super excited about that. But we'll see you here next week for And Then There Were Four. Don't forget, championship badges now live in the marketplace. Collect some moments from a player on the team you think will win the championship this year. Collect a moment from the Lakers last year or the Spurs from Run It Back. Duncan, good luck with free agency. Enjoy the offseason. We'll talk soon, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. Always fun to get on here and talk some Top Shot.
Always a pleasure, man. You take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.